I'm Dave, and I want to be your TV friend.
Tonight, from New York City,
Join me, Paul, and the Dave Letterman Dancers.
a conversation with David Letterman.
This is Times Square, the center of New York's theater district. I'm Harry Smith. Good evening. Just up the street from us is the new home of Late Show with David Letterman, the setting for the most interesting story in this fall's television season. Over the next 30 minutes, with his show set to premiere here on CBS, David Letterman will share with us his thoughts about himself, his comedy, and how a guy from the Midwest ends up on big-time TV here in the heart of New York City.
We're ready. We're gonna roll.
3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Roll to record. Confirm speed, please.
I'm sorry.
What's your point?
Let's wait till the microphones are on and then really talk it out.
We're gonna speed. Anytime, Tony.
Anytime, Harry. This is great. This is cool.
Is it as cool as you thought it would be?
Yeah. Oh, it's great. I mean, isn't it the best? You get up in the morning and you get to be on TV. I mean, how can it not be cool? No, it's exciting.
Come on.
Well, you don't think so?
Huh? Well, you've got this. You've got the band. You've got the audience. You have the biggest stars in America.
Well, that's what I'm
sitting
saying.
there thinking I'm going to have a heart attack because he's going to chew me
No,
up
it's
and spit
very
me
exciting. There isn't, in the 12 years we were on the air at NBC, there wasn't a night that I didn't get excited. I was always excited, not nervous. Some nights very nervous, some nights anxious, not like I am here today with you, of course.
Letterman has a way of putting you at ease and leading you unsuspectingly into punchline after punchline.
It's true.
That's what he did last January when it was announced that he would leave the NBC network for CBS.
We are truly delighted to welcome this great star to the CBS network.
January 14th, CBS Chairman Lawrence Tisch delivers the news. The rumors are true. David Letterman is in with an earlier time slot and a very lucrative deal.
And I want to thank them for their support, and also I would like to thank them for their generosity because... This deal certainly would have put a smile on Jack Benny's face. Even in the condition he's in now, he would have...
By July, Letterman was in Los Angeles, ready to meet the press for the first time since the January announcement.
I've been reluctant to meet the press.
Yeah.
Maybe it's snotty questions like that, pal. There he is. Get him.
Do you have any worries about moving from one network to another?
You know, I want the thing to work and work really well. But like I said earlier, maybe I'm just dumb, but I don't find myself kind of in a cloud of anxiety about this. Of course, I'm full of gin.
Letterman jokes about it, but ever since it became clear that he would leave NBC after more than a decade with that network, many have wondered just how he felt about it.
I was at BlackRock the night you announced you were leaving NBC to come
BlackRock, the big CBS monolith.
It's a huge, important building. And I thought to myself, he's doing this for more than money.
I've never done anything for money. So it's nice, it's comforting, but it's never been a motivator in my life.
Why? Why come here?
I've been very lucky because there was a time about a year ago when NBC chose Jay Leno to host The Tonight Show. It seemed to me that I was superfluous. It just didn't seem to me to make any sense to have Jay Leno doing an hour of a talk show and then I would come on afterwards doing an hour of a talk show. And I really felt like, you know, maybe my time had come to step out of network television. And I wasn't happy about it. It just seemed to be the reality of the situation. So then through the ensuing months, when I found out that there was interest from CBS, I became cautiously optimistic. I didn't want to take a job anywhere else. I listened to a lot of people who had unbelievable offers. There's a couple of guys in business of syndication of television shows, and it's the King brothers. And these guys...
They're the richest people in the world.
They have all the money. And they came in and they said, yeah, we'll give you a show. Everybody gets Bandlon shirts like we wear.
We'll get you some gold watches. We'll get you chains. We'll get you your own theme park. How would you like that? Your own theme park.
I thought, well, it's gotten silly.
Huge amounts of money. David Letterman leaves NBC, his home, this place that nurtured him and loved him and took care of him.
Well, now, wait a minute. Now, please, you're talking through your head here. There was not a great deal of love at NBC.
Are you hungry for the competition?
I'm hungry. Am I hungry? I'm describing myself now. I'm like a fighter. I'm eager to try and do a really good show, because that to me is your work is your ultimate satisfaction. Not the ultimate satisfaction perhaps, but it certainly makes the day nicer if you think you're doing a good job. So I think we're all eager, all hungry, to use your word, to get on and do a nice show, and to show a bigger audience what we think is a pretty good show. We hope. We're going to try very hard.
Do you feel any pressure?
Actually, I'm getting hungry now. Could I have a BLT? Don't you do like a cooking deal?
I just think it might have been easier to renovate Ed Sullivan than the theater itself.
This is the place David Letterman likes to joke about, the Ed Sullivan Theater on Broadway. Getting this place ready has been no easy task.
Ever since Ed Sullivan's last show back in the 70s, this theater had been falling into disrepair. So turning it into the new home of Late Show with David Letterman has required total renovation.
Last count, we actually saw more rats than seats at the theater. Saw Topo Gigio, the old mouse that in a stairwell eating an old grilled cheese sandwich. He looks horrible. The years have not been kind to Topo Gigio. The theater, it's unbelievable to watch. You go in there anytime, day or night, literally a crew of 200 people, hammering, nailing, plastering, painting, and they're doing a great job. And I so hope that it's ready.
Despite all the chaos, everybody knows the Ed Sullivan Theater is going to be ready by the time the show goes on the air. We're 10 floors above that now in the production offices, where they decide everything about how the show will go, including which celebrities to invite as guests.
Dana Carvey, I'm hoping to firm today, and I said we want to offer him the first Friday of the week.
Most of these people moved from NBC to CBS to stay with David Letterman. Holding the team together was an important reason for keeping the show in New York.
We had a chance. We could have gone to Los Angeles. We could have done this show out of the brand new CBS facility in Los Angeles, which you could walk into tomorrow and do a first-rate show. The beautiful things. And we kind of like the idea of staying in New York. It's a bit of a differentiation for us that we want to kind of protect. And also it would have required 40 or 50 people moving to Los Angeles and living somewhere near Barstow. I don't know. So we decided to stay here, and the writing staff is coming with us, the talent staff, the people who research and book talent and prepare the segments, all of those people are coming with us. I think we're about 75% of the people who were with us at NBC are coming with us to CBS.
Paul Schaefer?
Right.
Returns?
Yes, yes.
In his same capacity?
Oddly enough, he's running camera for us on the new show.
Okay.
So he'll be with us, but it's a little different job.
The show's musical director, Paul Schaefer, has been with Letterman from the start, creating a unique sound that helps set the show's mood.
Does the band change?
I'm adding to the band. I have the same 4 guys as the core guys. I'm adding 2 new guys.
Yeah.
Second guitar and a second synthesizer player. Because we've got some money to throw around now.
Thanks.
So the music will change a little, but not too much.
Paul Schaefer.
When we talked with the leaders of the production team, everyone said the same thing. Dave is Dave. Why mess with success?
When we're doing our jobs properly, we're serving him. We're booking the show to his liking. We're designing the show to his liking. And he's somebody who has a very definitive sense of what works and what doesn't work for him.
He is extremely funny, and in a sense, Dave doesn't really need writers. So what you have to guard against is falling into a situation where you start to write things like, well, give Dave spoons, he'll be funny with spoons. And the fact of the matter is he would be funny with spoons, but that's not exactly an idea. Well, let me just jot that down. Give Dave spoons.
Just get rid of the idea for the first show. I just think spoon bit. That might not be so bad.
What about, is it, for you, technically, is it a different, is it a different show to do at 11:30, 10:30 versus the old late night show?
Yeah, there's a great fear that you're going to have a big barn of a place, and you know, people will come in and say, oh, you couldn't get a laugh in a place like this, but you could be able to get laughs in this place. The ceiling's been lowered.
Someone says something about getting laughs?
Oh, I'm sorry, this is Rob, our head writer.
I didn't get the memo on that.
We expect
No, this is not the time to drop a bombshell like that.
Right, yeah.
Is there a sense, new network, new opportunity, we can show those guys, we're really the ones who ought to be on television at this time?
Yes. No, we wanted to be on at 11:30 for a long time. And we're very excited about it. And more people will see us, and more people will hopefully like us.
Is there a sense among you about competition?
I mean, we're well aware of what they're doing, but does it worry us? Bring them on.
I want to get Koppel.
Yeah, I want to kick his ass also.
All joking aside, the Letterman team has had to deal with some controversy these last few months. NBC said it owned the rights to Letterman's show.
Much has been written this summer about the disputes between the networks.
I understand NBC's position in owning the show. They feel that they own every aspect of it. They own my socks. I have an artificial tooth. They own that. They own every element. They own the format. I understand them saying all of that. And from just a reasonable point of view, I understand somebody making that claim. If they say, absolutely not, Dave, you can't use the artificial tooth that you used on NBC, fine. They can have the artificial tooth.
What makes you nervous? What makes you anxious?
My own shortcomings, my own ineptness, my own limitations. When you realize you're in over your head, you know, when somebody says something to you and it occurs to you that you haven't been listening, and then you think, oh, geez, I wish I had been listening, because I'm not the smartest man on television. I'm not the funniest man on television. I ought to be able to pay attention. But, you know, there are those circumstances, and I've had a couple here already with you, where you're just not listening to a thing anybody is saying. And that's, to me, what makes me nervous, when I realize I should have done that. I should be better than this.
Does any guest make you nervous?
Yeah, occasionally. You get a guest who, you see them looking at you oddly. If I sense that they're distressed, then one of two things will happen. You either rise to the occasion and try to put them at ease, and I've never done that. Or the other thing is you just kind of then both sort of feed symbiotically off each other's ill-at-ease feeling. So that's no good.
Can I confess to you that the one time I did your show...
I have no memory of that, by the way, Harry. I'm sorry. There's my confession. Let me get that out of the way.
Backstage, and as the producers all left and the music was playing during the commercial break, it's a Friday night.
The reason you were there on a Friday night, of course, was because Marv Albert was out of town.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I knew that.
Just as I'm coming in here tonight, a man comes up to me, and he's very excited to see me. He's squealing with delight, and I'm getting jumpier the more the guy squeals. And he says, I think your show is great. He said, I watched your morning show. I thought that was great. He said, I've seen every one of the shows you've done at NBC. I can't begin to tell you how excited I am you're going to CBS. And he's going on and on and on and on and on, and I'm embarrassed. I'm a little excited myself. Finally, all I could really do is I shook the guy's hand and I said, well, thank you very much, Mr. Tisch. And that was it.
Larry Tisch, that is, chairman, president, and CEO of CBS Incorporated. Letterman is known for occasionally lampooning his bosses. His new one, no exception.
Me and Larry, down there, all over you. Like a cheap suit, pal. You're dead meat, right, Larry? Take it.
When the deal to bring Letterman to CBS was announced back in January, Dave was asked whether Paul Schaefer would be coming too. With Larry Tisch looking on, Letterman did this.
Oh, Paul.
Have you got a little extra for Paul? Or?
But you had an entire big corporation to lampoon before. and you have individuals now. You have like a really rich guy, this Larry Tisch, who
Yeah,
owns
but it's not exactly a mom and pop shop, is it? Anything can be used as a focus of comedy. And I think we have a full plate here at CBS. That sounds insulting, doesn't it? I didn't mean it to be that way. But it's the same situation as General Electric. CBS is now the most successful commercial broadcasting network. General Electric is the largest global corporation. So it's, you know, we don't care how big, just as long as they're big. And we can't damage CBS by making fun of them, just as we couldn't damage GE by making fun of them, although Lord knows we try.
Little teeny tiny part of you that says, I want to kick NBC's butt.
No, first of all, I think it's unrealistic to assume that we could, based on the structure of the two networks. As I said before, NBC has been a powerhouse and has dominated, and they have Johnny Carson to thank for that. Well, actually it goes almost back to the beginning.
Jack Parr.
Yeah, Jack Parr and Steve Allen before that, and Jerry Lester, I think, had the first version of an NBC late night show. So CBS is in second position in late night, to be sure. So there's not much I can do about that, so there's no point in feeling pressure about something you have no control over. I'm hopeful that things go our way and that after a while stuff falls into place. But I can't worry about that now. I'm more worried about eyeliner, blusher, lip gloss.
Because does that change with the buildings when you go to different lighting?
It makes it, you know, go ahead and laugh, go ahead and mock me, Harry, but it makes a huge difference to me.
What did you see when you were a kid that made you think, I want to do that?
There's occasionally when I would be sick and would get to stay home from school, and I wouldn't always get to stay home from school when I was sick, but if, you know, running a fever like 110, 111, then Mom would relent. And you get to
a Midwest mom would just kind of break down and say.
And I would, we had a television set, one of these enormous things, and in those days there was like in the morning you could see, I think Arthur Godfrey, and I got to watch these guys, and it seemed, geez, the equipment looked cool, the microphones looked cool, the cameras looked neat, and the fact that here was a guy very easily chatting with me, it seemed like, an 11-year-old boy who was delirious from fever. There's my target audience, by the way. I just thought, well, this is great, this is cool. But I never thought you could do that for a living till much, much later in my life. And when I found out it was possible, at any level, that was satisfying, knowing this is what I would like to do, and whether you're doing it in New York City or Indianapolis doesn't really make much difference.
Families all over America are planning their fall vacations.
Good for them.
Around coming to New York, and
this is not a bad idea.
Stand in line to get into the Ed Sullivan Theater.
Autumn in New York is maybe the best time to be here anyway. And if you can include in your trip a visit to see our show, we would be eternally grateful.
There are people, believe it or not, who have not seen you. There are people who are out there saying, who is this guy? Why is it such a big deal? Why should they watch?
First of all, I'm a very nice man. My heart is in the right place. We're just trying to do an hour of silly television. We want to lighten your load a bit. And I think it's the kind of thing that if you watch once or twice, you will get it, you will want to continue to get it, and you will find yourself being on my side. I think that's what you hope for generally. We're in this together. It's not me against them, it's me with them. And that's part of what makes us very exciting. It's, we want to show you why we're worth your time.
Are there any adjustments that you see yourself making for the 11:30 audience?
Well, I'm going to start using a rinse on my hair. Other than that, no.
Despite all the talk about changing networks and times, David Letterman insists he is still the same. He'd like for you to think of him as just Dave, the irreverent guy next door with the uncanny ability to make you laugh.
I mean, it'll either seem very odd to see me an hour earlier, or it'll seem okay. I think I see myself almost every hour of the day, and I think that's fine.
Late Show starts its run on Broadway Monday night when it premieres here on CBS. I'm Harry Smith from Times Square. Good night.
So I'm walking to work, and I get to this intersection, and there's a guy, and what he's doing as somebody walks by, he keeps dropping his pants. So I'm observing this, and I'm just, my mind is racing. And after about 45 minutes, I think to myself, well, geez. One of the best things that's happened to me throughout all of this, a couple of weeks ago, this is true, the woman who keeps breaking into my house, over the last 8 years, this woman has busted into my house a half a dozen times. I consider this to be a great sign. 2 weeks ago, this woman started breaking into Conan O'Brien's house.
We're done. Hot diggity.
For tickets to join David Letterman's studio audience, write Late Show with David Letterman, 1697 Broadway, New York, New York, 10019.